We're at Music Mondays, Govans. These are our friends, Nicolas, who are in the room right now. And I will turn it over to you, Maria.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Maria, and I'm a member of Govans Presbyterian Church. I also work for the nonprofit arts organization Common Ground on the Hill. We are recording tonight's program as part of our work as a Maryland Folklife Center of the Maryland State Arts Council. The video will be archived on the Common Ground on the Hill official YouTube channel, where you can find other Govans Music Monday programs and many other videos. While you're on YouTube, also check out the Govans Presbyterian Church YouTube channel, which includes recordings of sermons and the Govans Racial Justice Speaker Series. There's a lot of great stuff on there, so I hope you'll take a look. And I hope you enjoy this evening. I'm sending you back to Lea.
Wonderful. Okay, I am so excited to introduce to you our artist for this evening. I was telling them in our pre-show that I went on YouTube over the weekend and I just got caught up in his beautiful, beautiful, beautiful music. And we are so profoundly blessed to have him here with us tonight. Nicolas Carter is a talented and versatile international harpist born in Minnesota, where it's crazy cold, and raised in Paraguay, where it's not, where he learned to play the Paraguayan harp. Carter creates unique performances, blending his musicianship with his skills as a theater artist storyteller. His authentic, warm, and friendly interaction creates an intimate experience, bringing inspiration, motivation, and joy. We love joy around here, Nicolas. Carter has been composing, recording, teaching, and performing for over 25 years, although he looks 25 years old, and has played all over the United States, Latin America, Europe, West Africa, and Israel. Welcome, everybody, to Nicolas Carter. Woo! I'm proud, Nicolas. Yay!
Good evening. So this instrument that I'm playing for you is called the Paraguayan harp.
Can you hear that,
It's,
Miss Pat?
it's not a Celtic. It's not part of the classical world. We are a direct descendant of those Renaissance troubadours, the Renaissance musicians, because the harp was very popular in the Renaissance years in Europe, and those were also the years that the Spaniards were arriving to the Americas and conquering the lands of the many different native groups of the Americas. In this case, the case of this instrument, it was introduced through the Jesuit missionaries in what is today Paraguay, northern Argentina. And the Guarani people, the natives of Paraguay, had never heard string instruments before the arrival of these Europeans. And so they became quite fascinated and continued, I guess, a tradition that was started in Europe. They continued with this whole mix of people from Europe and from the native culture of the Guarani people, a new harp tradition, a new style of playing. And even as the years went on, eventually the Renaissance harp was really transformed and evolved. Nowadays the strings go through the middle of the neck. They used to go on the side of the neck. And many things have changed about the instruments. And so now it is considered the national folk instrument of Paraguay. So it's a very popular instrument. And how did I ever end up learning to play this? I ended up growing up in Paraguay. I was 6 months when my folks moved to Paraguay. They were missionaries. They worked for the Christian Church Disciples of Christ, which is, I guess, a little descendant of the Presbyterian Church, a little family there. They broke away from the Presbyterian Church, basically, so we're, I guess, all one family in the end. And so I spent my whole childhood, the first 18 years of my life. It was back in the early 70s. There really was it was a very simple place to live in many ways. We didn't have a lot of the modern things, not even a TV in my home when I was little. So we had time to do other things like play soccer every day and learn to play music. And the style of music that I learned to play at the beginning was really all folk music. We call this Paraguayan polka, and I'll give you a little sample what it sounds like.
welcome everybody. Excuse me.
I'm.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to welcome everyone who's just come in. You're at Music Mondays at Govans Presbyterian Church and Leah's bedroom. Welcome to Nicolas Carter, who is presenting the most incredible harp music tonight. We present these concerts every Monday evening until we don't. And we are so glad that you're here. We like to support our artists. This has been very tough few months for artists of all types. And so we have a tip jar that we use, and Maria will be putting the link into the chat, and you can donate any way that you like, any possible amount. There's no limit and there's no minimum. So please feel free to donate and support our artists. You do not need a PayPal account to do so, okay? Nick, back to you, my dear.
Thank you. So, I mean, that style of music, we call it Paraguayan polka. It has a 3/4 bass pattern, and the melodies are always in 6/8. So there's this kind of syncopation thing going on. That's what's very typical of a lot of South American music, and every region has a different version of this kind of syncopation music. And one of the motivations or inspirations, I guess, to learn to play music, I bet, when you're a youth and growing up in Paraguay, was that there's a tradition called La Serenata. La Serenata is the serenade, and if you're in love with a girl, what better way to express your affection than through music, singing a song, in her, especially if it's like her birthday. You basically get a group of musicians together and you take the music and you serenade her to wake her up in the morning of her birthday, And it was a lot of fun because you get to practice with your friends from school, and then it's exciting at 5 a.m. It's still pretty dark, and because we entered at school at 7, so we have to surprise her before 6 o'clock. Otherwise, it's not a surprise. And it's still dark, and you never know what's going to happen. The dogs in the neighborhood sometimes come and attack you, because the dogs are free in Paraguay. They're not under leash like here in the States. It's a different world. And so I always had a few little rocks in my pockets just in case. And, you never know what was going to happen, because sometimes, we were a total right on and we played beautifully, and the mother invited us to have breakfast, and it was a whole fun thing. And other times we'd get kicked out by the father who didn't want us there, protecting his daughter. And then sometimes you never know if did the girl fall in love with the guy who brought the serenade or with the guy who was in the background playing the harp. So anyways, this is a Paraguayan love song. Thank you. Thank you. Well, that's a little bit of the romance side of the music from Paraguay. And, Paraguay is a tropical country. It's full of, it's green. I guess slightly there's two seasons, a dry season and a very green season. And but palm trees, they don't call them palm trees, they call them cocoa trees, because they have these little round cocos, and just landscape dotted with these little cocoa trees. And if you hit the sort of southern tip of the border of Paraguay, Brazil, and in Argentina, you come across maybe one of the greatest wonders of the world in terms of waterfalls. This is called Iguazu. It means, in Guarani, the native language, big waters. And that's the inspiration for this very famous composition, again in the style of Paraguayan folk music, called Cascada, the waterfall. That's the waterfall. Yes, could you hear that water tumbling down? There's toucans that fly over these waterfalls, and monkeys in the jungles, and it's a very colorful place. Back in the days, they used to even have you could even get on a little rowboat, and they would they would take you right to the edge of the waterfall on the rowboat. So you really had to trust the guy on the rowboat that he wouldn't get a heart attack, because. But if you ever saw the movie The Mission, did you ever see the movie The Mission with Robert De Niro, Jeremy Irons, back in the late '80s? And they had these images of these missionaries climbing on these waterfalls. You might have seen it. Anyways, The Mission is sort of the story of that period when the missionaries came to those territories of the Americas, and that's where obviously this harp was introduced. So, anyways, now I want to travel a little bit throughout Latin America, Even though I am mostly Paraguayan based, I gotta say I have influences in family and many different parts of South America. My wife is Brazilian Paraguayan, and that just changes things quite a bit there because they speak Portuguese, and she speaks Spanish and Portuguese fluently. She grew up with both languages. And then their food is a little different. They eat feijoada all the time with rice. It's rice and beans, black beans. That's a typical dish. Every weekend when they get together as a family, they have a barbecue and arroz y feijoada, the black beans. That's just very typical. And the music is very different. And if I was a few times in Brazil, I remember the first time I went there, it was in February, and February, and it was carnival time. So I got to watch these amazing parades of dancers and just incredible, crazy stuff that they do at carnival. So this is a little samba. It's music, obviously with influence from Africa, because as you might know, the Brazilian has the largest immigration of people from Africa, outside of Africa, ended up in Brazil. And so that their presence and influence in the music is amazing. Everybody gets up and dances to samba, This is just part of the national. And feijoada was also the food of, the black beans was the food of the poor. It was the leftover pork mixed with black beans, and now everybody eats that. So I tell you how, in the end, we end up all together. That's the ideal, right? We're all one family. This is samba d'Orfeo.
We have a question, Nicholas.
Yes.
Tim would
Great.
like to know, what type of wood is your harp made of?
What type of wood? Okay.
Hmm.
This is some type of in the spruce family. The soundboard is, and I think the sides of the harp are like it's called, I think, like cedar, some type of Spanish cedar. That's what it's made out of. It's a really light instrument, a really light sounding box. The box is almost made like a more like a guitar sounding box than the other harps that you see. Obviously, for the neck, it has to be really strong, so it's not one piece of wood. It's several pieces of wood laminated to make it strong, because it has to hold the structure really, because there's so much tension in the instrument. So yeah, thank you for the question, and feel free, by the way, to ask me questions, because that just sort of puts me on the map here of things that you guys might be interested in. So
Well, we have another one. Not a question, but well, sort of. So tell us about the Theater of the Oppressed that you work with.
Theater of the Oppressed. Oh, okay. Well, that's I wear many different hats. One of my hats is the harp playing, but the other hat is the theater arts world. And because I grew up under what we call a military dictatorship. There was the same president, same general that was in power in Paraguay for I guess over 30 years. For a while, he was one of the longest presidents in Latin America, and so we grew up under this regime where you could not say what you wanted to say, and you had to be really quiet, and you couldn't trust your neighbor or anybody, because you never know who was going to say, if you said something against the government, who was going to come after you. And so I always was interested in ways of I guess theatrically expressing situations of, or freeing oneself from situations of oppression. And so when I was in college, I came across a guy from Brazil who had been working in theater for many years and dealing with the theme of oppression, and saying, well, theater, it needs to be something not just seen on stage. It needs to be an experience that people put themselves on the stage and practice and try to understand better their situation, get more perspectives on how the same event can be seen from many different angles, and basically as a means to free oneself from this feeling of oppression, because it's when one feels oppressed, one behaves as an oppressed person, no? And so he drew up a whole bunch of exercises and techniques that are all theater based. And I studied with in his school in France, because he had been exiled from Brazil, and he ended up in France, and that's where he established his school. So, anyways, it's a fascinating way of working and dealing with issues that are tough issues, and dealing them in a kind of in a community setting. How can you propose a problem and find ways to solve that problem theatrically? Exercise, what would you do if you were in that situation of oppression? No? So anyways, does that kind of give you a
Mm-hmm.
general? Yeah.
Thank you.
So let me continue with the musical journey here. I want to play something from Argentina. This is from a very famous composer. He dedicated this song to, I guess, one of the first, distinguished feminists, I guess, from Argentina. Alfonsina Storni was a poet, and she was way out there in her days, and she was an incredible writer. Left a beautiful legacy of poems. And anyways, this song is dedicated to her. I love Argentina. My mother was born in Buenos Aires, in Argentina. She grew up across the river, and every summer we'd go visit the family down there. We were further north in Paraguay, and it was great. They're so different from us in Paraguay, because they have that kind of Italian thing going on. When they speak Spanish, che, primo, ¿qué pasa, loco? Me dijiste que me ibas a llamar, no viniste, loco. Very like that, very expressive. We're a lot more low key in Paraguay. So it was always fun, and to visit with them. At times I was a little intimidated, because I thought they spoke Spanish so well, and they were so cool, And we always lost our soccer matches against Argentina. So, there was a little bit of that. But then, over the years, we realized the Argentinians just have this wonderful sense of proudness that we all make jokes about in Latin America. And, one of the jokes is, why the Argentinians smile when there's lightning in the sky? They smile because they think God is taking pictures of them. Anyway, here we go. This is a beautiful song.
Very, very nice. Woo, I'm clapping for everybody.
Thank you.
So we have a couple more questions.
Yeah.
From Ben Hobbs and Julie. So sambas came from the east of Paraguay. How about tangos from the south? Also, is Ocarolin played in Paraguay?
No. Carlin is a whole different ballgame. Yeah. They're a different tradition than the Paraguayan tradition. Yeah.
Okay.
So, no, the Paraguayans they really have their own repertoire. And then in my case, I extended my repertoire to include countries from all over around Paraguay or within Latin America. Because when I moved to the States, I ended up becoming part of the Latin community, no longer part of the Paraguayan. If you speak Spanish, you join anybody who speaks Spanish and make music with them. Yeah. So the samba, there's two different sambas. There's a Brazilian samba and an Argentinian samba. The Brazilian samba is the one that I gave you a sample of, called Samba de Orfeo. And then there's one that's called Argentinian, that's with a Z, Zamba, and they also have that's a kind of a different little style. But I thought I'd move to tell you a little bit about, as I came to the United States, how I ended up becoming a musician, because I only learned to play the harp in Paraguay. I really developed myself as a harp player in the United States. I came to study at the University of Minnesota, and then I started getting called by friends and people. And one of those kind of commercial jobs, one of the first commercial jobs I got, was playing on a Cinco de Mayo at a Chi-Chi's restaurant. And we didn't have much time to practice with these two Mexican guys. So we only had about 4 songs in our repertoire. We had to play for 3 hours. Well, it was a huge restaurant. It had 3 big rooms. And it was called Chi-Chi's Restaurant. It was one of like those big chains. So we went and we played our 4 songs in the first room. And then we played our next 4 songs in the next room. And And then we went to the third room and we played again the same 4 songs. So by the time we got back to room number 1, guess what? It was a whole new crowd of folks. This is a little song you might recognize. I did a little preview for the folks here. It's called Guantanamera. Yo soy un hombre sincero, de donde crece la palma. Yo soy un hombre sincero, de donde crece la palma. Antes de morir me quiero echar mis versos del alma. Sing with me if you know it. Guantanamera, Guajira Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira Guantanamera. There's a beautiful verse that was written for this song by Jose Marti, and it goes like this. It says, I plant a white rose in January and in June for the friend, the honest friend who extend his honest hand. And for those who tear everything I love, I don't plant thorns or weeds. I plant a white rose. Cultivo una rosa blanca en junio como en enero. Cultivo una rosa blanca en junio como en enero. Para el amigo sincero que me da su mano franca, y para aquel que me arranca el corazón con que vivo, y para aquel que me arranca el corazón con que vivo, cardón y ortiga cultivo una rosa blanca. Here we go. Guantanamera, Guajira Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira Guantanamera.
Yeah, Nicolas, thank you so much. It was fun to sing with you. Thanks.
You're free to dance if you want to, 1, 2, and chat.
I don't think, if I stood up, I get arrested. So I can't do that. Okay. So we have another question. We have a musician here with us, well, a producer. He wanted to know, do you play for other musicians in sessions, recording sessions?
Yes, I do. Yes.
There you go.
Anytime. And I think maybe my website is nicolascarter.com, Nicolas Carter.
And Maria will put it in the chat.
She could put it in the chat. And there's my info, my phone number, and my email address. And sure, be happy to join any project. Yes.
Wonderful.
We live to play. I live to play, and I live to collaborate as much as possible with musicians. I've had a great time collaborating with musicians. I want to play some of my own music now. Giving you kind of a sample of Latin America, and I've lived many years in the United States. So definitely, when I play, some things are influenced by Latin music. Some things are influenced by music from what I experienced also living here. And this song was based on an improvisation, It's called Passing By. And it was inspired when I was at the State Fair of Minnesota. I had a booth. It was in the International Bazaar. It was just a small booth. I sold CDs there, and I realized that if I didn't play live, the Australian hats across the way were a lot more interesting than harp CDs sitting on a shelf. And so I played and played and played, but got so sick of playing the same songs that I ended up improvising one day. And as I was improvising, I just watched the people that were passing in front of my booth. You can imagine 1 million people walking the State Fair of Minnesota, so that's quite a lot of people passing by. And then all of a sudden I saw that there was a little baby, just brand new little baby, welcome to the earth, and they're being pushed in a little stroller. And a second later came an old lady being pushed by her grandson in a wheelchair. And I just saw those, and I thought, oh, cool, those were the wheels of life. And as I looked at it, I said, man, life goes by fast. No, before you know it, you've lived 56 years, right? Anyway, here we go. Yes, this is called Passing By.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Stunningly beautiful. And that's an original composition.
Yes, that's an original composition.
Beautiful.
Yes.
We have another question.
Yes.
From Deb Smith, she wanted to know. She said that's such a popular Latin to the song before the Guantanamera. She wants to know, what does it mean? Is Guantanamera a place?
Some people say it refers to the area of Guantanamo. Some say it refers to the woman of Guantanamo, right? Which is well, you've heard of Guantanamo, right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
little corner, but I think, like many things, I think it's something to do with the sounds. You know, Guantanamera. It also, there's a rhythm called Guajira, which is typical in Cuba. So I sometimes wonder if it's just, like you say haba haba hubo, it just sounds kind of cool and you just say it. It doesn't have to mean much. It's just the sounds. I sometimes wonder. Though I hear that people say it refers to the woman from Guantanamo, but that's my explanation, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Proceed.
All right.
We've
Well,
got 10 minutes.
I'll play you a little something. One of my favorite, also original compositions. This is called Camino de la Libertad, On the Road to Freedom. And I guess, the best way I could say is that I try to express my deep desire to be free in life. It's true that a lot of times we get trapped into places and in situations that don't allow us to feel free. And this was a song for me saying, I want to be on the road of freedom, So it's called On the Road of Freedom.
Oh my goodness. Whoa. What do we say to that? That was brilliant. Not just brilliant, it was beautiful. You know what, Nicholas? It felt like freedom. We could hear and feel the freedom. Thank you so much for that. There's another question. I want to talk about your song because that was just incredible. Really, thank you. So from Julie. Julie
Yes.
is one of the co-chairs of our racial justice ministry. She asks, how do you combine theater with harp music, and also do you play other instruments?
Um, okay. Second question.
First.
Yes. The second question. I do play a little bit the guitar and the piano, but since I use long fingernails for both hands to play this harp, I've been specializing mostly on this. And then I play little versions of this, but they're different instruments like the lyre. I have different sizes of lyres, and they're metal strung, so they're different tension and different sounds. And so, yeah, that's mostly what I play. I specialize in sort of the harp world. How do I combine theater? Well, no, mostly it's by story. But right now, what I'm mostly doing is storytelling with a harp, and we're running out of time because my story lasts about 10 minutes. But next time I'll be there in person, right?
That's right. You will be here in person.
And I could showcase you how I play the harp and tell a story at the same time. Obviously, I do use many different voices, so my theater years paid off. Though I combine them both basically. I'm doing my theater act and I'm doing the music at the same time, and I don't know a lot of people that do that. It's a specialty to be able to play and talk at the same time. So that's what I do. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions?
I said, Nicholas, can you share a final song with us?
Yes. Yes. I will finish with the Paraguayan most beloved or classical piece. The composer of this song, he left a legacy for us who follow him, and his name is Felix Perez Cardoso. The song is called The Bellbird. His repertoire was so important to the Paraguayan tradition that when he passed away, the town where he was born was changed name, so it now is called Felix Perez Cardoso. The bellbird is basically, a bird that sings and sounds like a bell, and that's the imitation. The call of these birds is the motif for the song. Hessa!
Bravo, bravo, bravo. Virtuoso, bravo. Oh my God, Nicholas Carter, everyone. Nicholas Carter, who does things with a harp I've never heard come out of a harp. Absolutely. And actually, Julie said that as well. I bought Nicholas' CD over the weekend. Nicholas, make sure you sign it before you send it to me.
Oh, I forgot.
You've already sent it?
I already sent it to you.
I just had to buy another one. It's okay.
When I meet you in person, I'll have a black marker and all.
There you go. There you go. Yes, we're going to make sure that Nicholas joins us next year when we are all in person and we can have a real live concert, because we are, in the name of Jesus, we are counting that this is going to happen. Things are going to change. Once again, Nicholas, there are not enough thank yous. Your music is unprecedented to me, and I mean that. It's not hyperbole. I think we've all, in these boxes, we've all experienced so many types of music. And this has been very special tonight, very special. So on behalf of Govans Presbyterian Church, which is a wonderful church of progressive people, we're Christ-centered, but we believe that everyone is right in their own way. We don't think we know everything. Amen. Except I do. No, I'm just kidding. And we don't think we know everything, right? We know that good is good, justice is justice, and we all deserve it. So thank you so much, Nicholas.